meeting of the St. Augustine Port Waterway and Beach District for March 17th, 2026. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do the commissioners want to offer an invocation?
Oh, Tom's in here.
Nothing. Roll call.
Commissioner Rivers, absent. Commissioner Flowers, here. Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Bender,
Here.
Commissioner Kirker.
Here.
Next item is adoption of approval of agenda. Do any commissioners have any modifications to the agenda, or alternately, do I have a motion to approve as written?
I approve as written.
Motion is approved. There's a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Public comment. Members of the public want to make any comments? No? All right. Next up is government representative comments. There's only two of y'all today. Who wants to go first? Oh, wow. All right.
Oh,
I was going to raise that
Duran.
commissioner comments anyway, so don't worry about it, Corey. Just
Duran,
for the
Nick.
record, just for the record, we have Commissioner Rivers is a writer right now. Thank you, Max. There we go. So no government representative comments, is that right? Nothing from Brian?
The city's going to have, well, you want to comment? I can't. I mean, I'll help you on that.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Corey Secker with the City of St. Augustine.
why is that not coming?
The City Commission at the last meeting approved two projects for the upcoming FY26 fine waterways assistance programs.
I don't feel like it's on the loudspeaker.
It's not. That microphone's not working.
Are we able to record this meeting?
Yeah, ours are on. For some reason yours is not, though.
Okay. I'll speak up then. So the City Commission approved the city going forward with two applications for the Florida Inland Navigation District's Waterways Assistance Program for FY26. The first program was our application to the WAP program for the dredging and salt continuation of the maintenance dredging and salt run, which is also on your agenda today for the interlocal agreement for the 25% match. Additionally, the St. Augustine Fire Department is putting in an application to the Inland Navigation District for a new fireboat. And what they're going to ask fine for is they're going to ask for the 25% match for the boat, and they're going to go for a port security grant, which was kind of last year was put on hold, and then it was opened up at the very last moment, and then the fire department was going to do a project, and then they decided to back off, and now they're going for it this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Carl Blow of the Florida Inland Navigation District. Just to follow up on Corey's comment, the fire department did want to pursue this federal grant for a fireboat, which I think is comparable to the fireboat that the county has, which is a very well-equipped vessel. Actually, I think might have been the government shutdown created problems for that process. So they're going for that same grant again, and it requires a local match. If I remember, I think it was 20%. And so they came to find, and unfortunately, we on police boats and fire boats, we cap our grant program at $125,000. And I think this boat, and I should have written the numbers down, but I think it's an $820,000.
I think 855 was what Chris was saying.
So the shortfall is $82,500, and they would the city would like you guys, the Port District, to entertain providing that $82,500 to make up the 20% match they need to match the federal grant
For
a total
is
of
this just salt run dredging?
No, I'm talking about the fire.
Okay, for the
boat.
fire,
This is
I
a
don't
fire
know how
boat,
it's
yeah.
crossing. That was just for the fire boat, that we just need to make up the 82.5.
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah, and unfortunately, we find, we're providing funding for a lot of police boats, fire boats, and actually our limit used to be like $100,000, and we just bumped it to 125 because, the equipment's expensive. And so, but that's what this is all about, is if Fine could provide more, I'm pretty sure we would, but currently our rule is capped at 125, so that's why the city's coming to you for that $82,500.
Is that for motion today, or are we waiting for paperwork?
No, they'll be presenting
You'll be
that
coming,
at next
okay.
meeting.
Just letting us know, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sorry, we got a question maybe from Commissioner Benner.
Yep. Corey, question dealing with derelict boats. We haven't had a report in a couple of months, and I know you guys have set up something to take care of it and then reimburse from us.
Sure, I can give you a quick update on that, Commissioners. The city should be today wrapping up a Florida Inland Navigation District derelict vessel removal app, which is a 75-25 split. It was a project that was opened up earlier, and then one of the boats came in so much cheaper. Our new grants administration person has actually done a really great job in going out with a new solicitation to find a menu of vendors that can come out and remove derelict vessels. And I think we retained 3 on continuing services contracts. And what's really important is that he was able to get some really good rates from each vendor. In that first find, the grant that's open, it's open for a couple of years, we were able to get some of those boat vessels cheaper, and we were able to remove 3 vessels that weren't on that original application. We've received partial reimbursement from the port, is that 25% match, and same from Fine. He's going to close out that grant application, I'm hoping today. We were talking about bringing the paperwork in, and I said, no, just make sure you go through it one last time, make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But we have 3 other vessels that we're going to send to Mr. Chris Kelly, the Assistant Director of the Inland Navigation District, for a review, and then we're going to apply to the port for that offset funding. And unfortunately, I don't have those numbers, but I'll have them for you next month. But to date, there's no LEOs here, but we have no vessels on deck to remove, which is fantastic.
I just have a couple, both if you don't mind, really quickly. Corey, can you tell me just quickly, whatever happened with the dredging that we were doing during that, is it Dolphin Cove?
Okay.
How'd that turn out?
So that is still in process, ma'am. And so our same grants administration coordinator, he is working with Taylor Engineering, who is applying for permitting right now, and that's where that is. He is also going out, after we just finished Salt Run, the dredging at Salt Run, that sunset our contract with Grants Diversified. So he is also in the middle of right now, the evaluation team is reviewing proposals for both hydraulic and mechanical dredging to retain continuing services contract for the city.
So your grants guy is doing that now? City's doing that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, and Carl, one last thing for you, is you come in here every year and you tell us about the fine grants that are available. And then we hear you, but don't ever do anything. Or am I to understand that this commission could apply itself for a fine grant to do things within our district?
That's correct. You could.
Okay, so like when one of our stakeholders called and was asking about grants for transient dockage or what have you, perhaps we could tap that? So we have not been tapping the funds?
Well, as an independent taxing district, you could apply for.
We could apply for the fine grant you tell us about.
You could get involved in that.
What's the cutoff date on applying for that again?
This year it's March the 30th.
March the 30th.
Yeah, a couple days.
Wow, March the 30th.
It's typically around the end of March.
And what is the maximum of that grant we can ask for?
Well, the way that program works is each county, and that includes all the cities and special taxing districts inside that county, the maximum possible funding available is 90% of the gross tax revenue collected from that county.
For the whole county, not just our district?
Right.
90% of the
I mean,
whole
like for
tax?
instance, Fine provides grant funding for projects on the St. Johns River, which is obviously outside.
Right, okay.
Yeah, if you had eligible grants that scored high enough, and if we had sufficient funding in our budget, you could conceivably get 90% of the gross tax revenue from St. Johns County.
From that county.
Yeah.
And if you don't take
Like
that,
for instance, Dade County is a lot bigger number because
okay,
their tax base is much bigger than the tax base in St. Johns County. So I think 90% of the current tax revenue, and it's growing in St. Johns County, is a little over, I'd say $1.1 million.
has anybody come for that this year?
Oh yeah. I've got the grant application from
The city and county?
for salt run dredging
Okay.
for $300,000. The fire boats, I've already done my little bit, and that's $125,000. St. Johns County is got one in for $250,000 for.
So we should figure out how much that figure is, 90%, and make sure we don't let that go. Does that?
Well, that's always been my goal as your fine commissioner, is not to leave any money on the table. And so that's why I try to get you guys to apply for the grants. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get them,
Right.
but if you don't apply, you're certainly not going to get them.
No, sir.
So,
Great information, I appreciate you telling me that.
Mr. Blow, you
Yes,
were
sir.
interrupted. I didn't hear what you said. The county asked for $250,000.
That it's the Volano boat ramp dredging. It's they're looking to do maintenance dredging in the Volano boat, that basin at the Volano boat ramp.
Have you received any requests or inquiries, recent inquiries, dealing with the newly named Walton Family Park?
Not this cycle. But now when you guys, when this board provided the $1.5 million for the land purchase, that same period, Fine provided $1,050,000 for the purchase of the land, which I think that year was pretty much the maximum available for St. Johns County. From my discussions with Nathan Otter, they're in the permitting design phase right now, and they're funding that through their budget, and they at the point that they are ready to go to construction on the boat ramp portion, then they'll probably come see Fine or apply for a Fine grant, and they come see you guys as well. I know, construction-wise, they're working on the property now, building roads and stormwater and such. And the last time I talked to Nathan, they were getting ready to start the work on 312, where as you come off the 312 bridge heading west, they're going to have an entrance off of 312 directly into the park, and they're about to start that work. That work and roadway inside the park is not eligible for Fine funding, but what is eligible is the actual boat ramp work. But that's being it's currently under permit review with the Corps, and unfortunately the Corps is really backed up, and so it could be certainly another year before, we might see them next year. Worst case, it might be 2 more years.
So with the number of applications you have right now, do you still have money left for the St. John's allotment for this year?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, and when I say, that allotment's not guaranteed, that's just by our rule, the maximum amount. But I think we would have approximately $200,000 that no one's asked for. But the deadline is, it would be, if you're thinking of trying to get something in, it would be quite an effort to get it in by March the 30th due to the requirements of the application.
So if there is $200,000 or so money left over, that could be used by other counties then?
Yes, right.
So you can
Yeah, what happens?
loan them the money, and then down the road, you may get the money back for another project.
Well, it doesn't roll over now.
In future years,
Yeah, in other words, you can't carry a surplus, say, to the next fiscal year.
Correct, I realize that, but if, say, one of the southern counties needed the extra 200,000 because they had so many projects, and you don't have any need for it, they can use your money then, and then you can get basically, in my mind, an IOU for future years.
I think the answer would be no. Basically, where our rule caps any county to a maximum of 90% of their gross tax revenue. So whatever happens in Dade County, and usually what happens in Dade and Broward County is they don't have enough projects to even get to the potential amount of grant funding that's available. And they're just out of luck. I mean, and that's the way our rule works. There's no real carryover of any out. In other words, if you don't ask for the money in this fiscal year, it's gone. You know,
And for this existing year, it looked like you did a rollback rate.
Yeah, we did the rollback rate.
And
Yeah.
when you did a rollback rate, did all the other counties do the same rate, or do you have different rates in the different counties?
No, well, we have one millage rate that we apply
For all the counties?
for all the counties. Yeah,
So everybody had the rollback rate this past year?
that is correct. Yes, sir. It would be suicidal not to do the rollback rate. I mean, that's just a comment. But yeah, we have our one rollback rate, which we haven't increased our millage in something like 30 years. And of course, we've had a lot of growth in the state of Florida in the last 30 years. So, you know, our revenue increases every year, but we haven't had to raise the millage. So our millage has either stayed the same or we've done a rollback. But we haven't increased it.
What?
For Mr. Corey, question, since you've brought up the Dolphin Drive project, you had talked in the past that food taxes at $37,500 would be reimbursed to the port.
Yes, that's still on track. So the portion of the project where we're at right now is Taylor Engineering is working through permitting and the final designs and stuff, and the final design package. What we're going to do is, as I mentioned, we're going out for a new solicitation to retain a dredging contractor. And in that solicitation, we had a projected project where we gave them a cost schedule. And the idea is applying that cost schedule with the number of cubic yards coming out of the design and engineering. And then take that and then work with our finance department, go out to all the residents that are eligible for the Dolphin Drive. They have to come back with, I want to say it's like a 60 or 70% number. I'm not in the finance side of it, but they have to come back with a 60 or 70% approval rate. And then we take it to the City Commission, City of St. Augustine Commission, and then they basically approve the project going forward where they pay for it out of the reserves. And then over the ad valorem taxes for the next 20-some years, however that immortalization rate is, those residents that get the benefit pay back the project, which would include rolling into the grant that you gave, that you gave for the initial design and engineering.
Do we anticipate any of that $37,500 coming back in this fiscal year?
No, I really can't say at this point. We're working as fast as the stuff that's coming in our lap, so I can't say. We're right in the middle of our team is evaluating all of the dredging projects or the dredging contractors, the respondents to the solicitation. And right now, we had our purchasing department is working towards that. I wouldn't say they stumbled, but they had a couple issues. They're pushing through them, and the evaluation team is just taking their time. So to do a proper solicitation so we don't get a protest back from any of the respondents, we're making sure there's a fair and level playing field. And ultimately, we hope to get the lowest cost schedule, in the respondent to do both mechanical and hydraulic.
And with the dredging down the line for the Salt Run, we'll get into that a little bit later, so I'm going to touch upon it. But when you did that report on Salt Run, also cover any other dredging you may anticipate, even if it's none.
Well, that's the brilliance of what we try to do. And traditionally, the city of St. Augustine was very lucky that we were able to retain a mechanical dredging contractor since I think that one went out in 2019, and their contract just sunset. we're reaching out again to have more continuing services contractors that what we're looking for is a mobilization, a demobilization rate, and then a cost per cubic yard. And that's the bare basics of that cost schedule. And we can apply that to any project, whether it be Dolphin Drive, Salt Run, or any other projects that, commissioners or other programs come up with.
Is that all you want?
Like the city marina,
Second,
like the city marina.
the city marina, I believe Commissioner Flowers mentioned Hospital Creek, but I know we don't have any permitting for any of that stuff. But again, the idea being is we can apply these continuing services contractors to a project. We just need to find out how many cubic yards, which is what's going on right now with the Dolphin Drive Basin project. You're welcome.
And that whole process will go out to bid before they decide who they're going to choose?
Say again?
They're reaching out to one contractor, or they want to bid it?
Well, no, ma'am. What I meant is that project, the Dolphin Drive Boat Basin project, is in two directions right now. The one side where they're doing the design and engineering, where they give us the amount of cubic yards and the template they're going to dredge. And then the other side of it is the city's going forward to retain those contractors, to retain a dredging contractor or multiple dredging contractors.
That's my question, is when the cities are obtaining those dredging contractors, that all goes out to bid?
It is out to bid right now, ma'am.
It's
in
out
the
to bid right
evaluation
now?
process. Yes,
That was
ma'am.
my question.
Yeah, the bids opened up I can't say last month or this month.
Okay.
And then they're under evaluation right now. It was a request for proposals.
On the Jennifer tract, I've noticed a path being cleared towards 312.
Yes, sir.
Is that where the,
Yeah, that ties into that entrance off of 312. In other words, there'll be a decel lane, and you'll be able to turn in at that point. And hopefully, I haven't seen the drawings, hopefully DOT allowed them to have an exit at that point as well. But yeah, well, you see that clearing, that they're clearing right away through there. Can I probably shouldn't say this, but but I'll let it it has to do with long-term issues with dredging. I'll wait.
Go ahead. You got the floor. Go ahead.
There's a real crisis shaping up, and it has to do with finding a permanent home for dredge material that's coming out of primarily the marinas, San Sebastian River, if you have to dredge it, which periodically that happens too, Salt Run, what have you, is the contractor the city's using now, Branch Diversified, has a location to take that material as a permanent disposal site, but it's filling up. And
I'm sorry, Carl, it's still what?
Branch Diversified, the contractor that's been doing the work for the city,
Yeah.
they have a facility on the St. Johns River opposite Blum Island, and that's where they take that dredge material.
Is that up in Jacksonville?
Right.
Okay, that's why it's so expensive.
Yeah,
They have to.
Yeah, they barge it out there. But all I was going to say is that there's nothing on the horizon where you can take material. And in the old days, I'll use that term, when we first started doing dredging of Salt Run and the marina and so forth, it used to be DEP would allow us to take that material and backfill borrow pits, west of town. But they won't let us do that anymore. So that's my concern. I mean, and this is a statewide problem. Other municipalities often come to find to ask permission to use our facilities to place the dredge material in our facilities.
Which is where?
We have nothing down there.
Oh, okay, but not real close to us, is that right?
Well, we have one up in Nocatee, and we have one SJ1 down here in the Kansas Inlet. But you can't leave it there permanently, and you have to agree to remove it over a certain period of time. So anyway, it's a complicated issue,
And that's why they're looking to put it in the marsh, to spread it thinly through the marsh?
Thin placement, that's basically an experiment. But
it's because of this crisis that they're...
No, what's driving that? Well, it would be beneficial if we could do that, but what's driving that experiment is to address sea level rise and loss of marsh. And the
Okay,
intention
hi.
is if you can do thin placement in there, you can maintain that marsh grass and not, because you know the sea level goes up.
And Carl, Salt Run is not as clean as that area between Volano and the boat landing. You know, we dredged that out and put it on the beach. The Salt Run sand is not very clean. We can't.
Well, and I'll defer to your engineer, but
Okay.
the DEP is very particular about, and the Corps, about the material that's placed on the beach. And when you get into these inland areas like Salt Run, like the San Sebastian River, the City Marina, what have you, that material is a much finer material, and it's just not beach quality. In fact, the last time the San Sebastian River was dredged, that material actually went where the old lures manufacturing plant was. And what they did is they mixed it with other material and to create suitable structural backfill. So, anyway, sorry to Mr. Chair.
Not at all. Thank you for keeping us surprised as always, Carl.
Yeah.
I have one question before. Back to the boat. And this is an odd question, but is it needed?
I'm sorry.
The boat, the $855,000 boat.
Oh, yeah, for the fire department?
Is it?
So it's the fire department's application. I just know we went up in front because the Florida Inland Navigation District application requires a resolution from the city commission, and the fire department presented that application.
So it's been vetted, because
Through their chain of command, absolutely, yes, ma'am.
there's more to it than just owning it. You have to staff it and store it and all of that.
Correct, but, well, I can say
This is
from
fire
my
department.
position is that it's going to be a one-for-one swap. The current fire boat that would go out to gov deals for sale, and then they would still
Okay.
operate that boat.
So it's
So they're
not-
not expanding our fleet. They're just
It's getting rid of one,
improving
and
it.
this is bigger, better, newer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks very much. That brings us to the Secretary Treasurer's report.
The city police law enforcement overtime, we've spent nothing yet of the $10,000 budgeted. The St. Johns County Sheriff Department overtime, of the $30,000 budgeted, we have spent $5,073. The fire department, we have spent nothing yet. The derelict boats, we've spent $17,963. And the channel marker repairs, we've spent $6,100. And the Florida State Board of Administration, Fund A, we have $27,572. In the operating account, we have $747,416. In the money market account, we have $1,836,450. And the money market reserve, we have $500,000.
Now on St. Johns County Sheriff's Department overtime, there was some chatter about the overtime interlocal that we need to execute with them. Would now be an appropriate time to execute that? And we'll need a motion on that, just as a kind of pro forma.
Yes, sir. Precisely. It's been received, it's been reviewed, it reflects the current budget line item as opposed to prior year budgets, but this would be the appropriate time, and it's just a motion to approve execution, second, and a vote.
Right, so just to bring everyone up to speed, we approved $30,000 in overtime for the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. We just need to execute an interlocal agreement between the Port District and the Sheriff's Office, memorializing that understanding. So if anyone would like to make a motion to approve execution of that interlocal, we can go ahead and get it done today.
Well, if we don't have the agreement, did they send the agreement to us? Do we have the interlocal agreement?
Yes, they sent it to me for review. The numbers in it reflected prior year's budgets. I revised that, sent them back to them. They then made an additional revision and sent it back as to who would be executing on their behalf to change it to Commander Underwood, who's now Commander Underwood. But other than that, it reflects the same language of the interlocals that have been entered into between the Port District and the Sheriff's Department for each of the years prior to this year. Just those differences.
Before I could vote for that, I would definitely have to have a copy of the interlocal agreement that we're executing.
Sure, I'll hand you a copy of it right now.
Well, I'm gonna have to take it home and read it, and I'm gonna look at it.
All right, well,
I will not be able to vote on that today.
does anybody else propose, or do I have any other motions on the floor to execute that interlocal today? No, everybody wants to read it? All right, it will be tabled until next month. Elise, could you put that on next month's agenda, please? That's going to be St. Johns County Sheriff's overtime interlocal agreement. Good. Next up is approval of the minutes.
Wait. I just want to finish this.
Okay.
And the only other,
sorry.
that's okay. The only other thing on there is we budgeted for tax revenue, 955,000. We have received 876,000, so our expected is 79,000. That's what's expected.
Very good.
And one question on that, the 6,100 for the channel market repairs, that's not the most recent one, that was an older one.
No, that's current year. That's since September.
Yeah, we just approved
I
one
mean,
last
October.
month.
Huh?
We approved one last month to have the work done. Is that the 6,100?
Yes. Well, the 6,100 was from that's what I have for channel marker repairs. And that was, paid after the new year started, the new budget year.
Again, last month we approved channel marker 9.
Oh, I just got an email from Ken about that.
Yeah, just my question is, the 6,100 is an old one, we have another one coming with the channel market 9.
Yes, but we haven't paid that money out.
No.
have we? No, so it's not reflected on
No,
the-
that's not reflected because I
That's all I'm
haven't,
asking.
Right, that will
yeah,
likely be on.
we haven't got the
next
bill
month's
for
stuff.
that. That's
Any other
it.
questions on that? Hearing nothing. Approval of minutes from the February 17th, 2026 meeting.
I move approval.
There's a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Engineering report?
We had nothing special, but we can answer any questions you have.
I have a couple
Yes,
questions.
ma'am.
It's Jim, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Jim, are you the person leading the Summer Haven design with Taylor Engineering? Okay.
So, yes, ma'am. Taylor Engineering has been awarded the Summer Haven, the revised Summer Haven project. As I think maybe you've all seen from the county.
No, we have been completely left in the dark. I did tune into the county things. We were told they were coming here, and they didn't. As far as I know, they're already digging, or they have been digging for some time and putting sand up around their house in the riverbed. And I did watch the county, and I saw that Taylor got awarded the design of, they're going to start digging, and we hold the actual permit for maintenance in that river. So I'm concerned, no one's come here and why they haven't.
So that's between the district and the county.
Okay,
So here's what I know. I know we were selected to do the design work. If somebody's doing digging, I have no idea, we have no idea. It's not based on anything that we've done. So that design hasn't even started. We were
but
on
it's a
notice.
design to dredge the river that's full of mangroves now, is that right?
I'm not aware that it's full of mangroves at all, but it is to do multiple steps. Again, what the county has should be public record. So,
Well, I feel like we're in the dark, but maybe the commission, would it be
well,
better? I don't mind reporting.
so again, now that the county has gone public with it, we can ask their permission to come. We can do a complete briefing to this board of what's laid out in those two documents. There's really
Would
two
you do
documents.
that? As our consultant?
Yes, but I would want to ask them, they own it. Much like 14
We
years.
own the permit to
But
dredge.
they're not using the permit yet. The only thing that's happening right now is design right now. No work has been
But
done.
they-
To the extent any digging has been done, it's been private individuals who
Right,
have been digging
and
behind
that is
their
a-
houses.
that's
But
a-
that has nothing to do with us. That has
Yes, it
nothing to
does.
do
As a regulatory authority over that district, if somebody is digging in a riverbed within our district, we have a lot to do with that. It is illegal. They've even been told it is legal by the FDEP. So here we have people sitting in our district that we are the governing authority and the regulatory authority?
We are not the regulatory authority.
Yes, it is in our charter.
Authority.
It
That
is
is
in
why
our charter.
DEP apprised
It's
of
in
the
our
fact that
charter.
it is illegal.
So again, let me finish, please. It is my turn. It's in our charter. We do regulate. We're supposed to, anyway. But nonetheless, I've spoken to FDEP about it as well, and they're not aware of any of that going on. And those people, some of the people in South Cumberland Haven have literally have received a letter telling them to stop. So we are, just because FDP is involved in something doesn't mean that we are totally uninvolved. The same with the county. They don't step back from involvement because the FDP is telling them what they need to do. So that's my question. I watched the meetings of the county, and since we're so behind, would you mind doing a liaison? And if the commission doesn't mind, I'll do a quick snip of just the meeting, of the presentation to the county and send to y'all if you'd like to watch it, because there's a lot in motion there. And it looks like the very first thing they want to do, I've read it, all the steps, is start dredging and fast.
Just really quick, because it was mentioned, if there's going to be any information relating to anything the commission might be taking action upon, I strongly encourage that information to not be shared commissioner to commissioner. It should be shared in a public meeting.
I will post those. It is a public meeting that I'm sending. It has no opinion. I will be sending it, so this board can choose to look at it. If Elise wants to send it on, she's welcome to do it. It has no opinions. It is literally just a copy of another public meeting. And you're incorrect, just like you're always incorrect.
Well, that false statement aside, again, if it's any information, whether it's of a different public meeting, whether it's of a private nature of information, any information that any commissioner feels is something this commission should take action upon should not be shared directly commissioner to commissioner. It should be shared in a public meeting.
Jim, it's of my opinion since Taylor has this contract, and I feel like it's so close, because Taylor also advises us, again, the governing authority, that needs to at least have a resolution to say it's okay for you to do it. They haven't done that yet. If the commission is not interested in an injunction, I would personally be interested in filing an injunction to stop any work. So just let them know. They must come to the governing authority, or we could dissolve this commission. If it's so much trouble to do, keep it legal and do it right, we could vote, legislature's still sitting, they can dissolve this commission in a swipe of a pen. So please make sure they do things legally. This is awfully close to have you advising us and working on that project. That's all I got to say.
Any other?
Well, I'd like to add something. I believe that you put this on the port agenda for April now.
Yes, the Friends of the Summerhaven River have asked to be added to the April agenda. They want to come and talk about the project as it is progressing. I believe the only thing that's happening right now is some extremely preliminary design work. They're very, very far away from doing any actual work on this, if it ever happens at all, if the county even agrees to fund any of it. But we will hear from them in April about this project.
And I believe that they're going to try to present the adaptation plan. There's one other thing. The county commission voted at the last meeting to have Taylor Engineering do some design permitting and engineering on the river. Is that correct?
That sounds correct.
Specifically, the residents at the south end are going to pay for their own excavation of the river because they need the sand in front of their houses. Correct?
Within reason, that
Or is
sounds
that still up in the air?
that will be between the residents and the county.
Okay.
And hopefully the governing authority. Okay.
It will be between all of those entities.
And by the time they get here next month, they'll probably know everything about the cost.
So part of
What
it,
it's going to cost.
Right.
it's going to happen in multiple phases and steps. There's been a tremendous amount of change since this board first went through about 14 years ago, trying to save the Summerhaven Riverbank. And that was...
There's a lot to say about that. And just so you know, There's a fellow.
Sandy, he was saying, let him finish.
So as time has gone on, multiple storms have impacted Summer Haven as a whole, from Matanzas Inlet to all the way down to Marine. As you know, we took care of what this entity went forward with the design and permitting of the northern part of Summer Haven River. The remainder, southern part of that, the county has been trying slowly but surely over the years to reinforce. It's all been Band-Aids for the most part. This was brought forth, as I understand it, to the county as a more comprehensive plan for everyone, which is really, to be quite honest, what it's needed to be. You can't keep putting a Band-Aid on it. So the county brought it forward, has asked us to take a look from both a design and permitting standard, what needs to be done to make it the most viable habitat possible. Some of the individual homeowners have, of course, their own opinions. There has been debate over the years because A1A, as I think you all know, is part of that, has been moved to the west some years ago, over 20 years ago now. But there was some part of the road, asphalt, remaining on the ocean side of those homes. Had been. That was washed away long ago, in the past 12 to 14 years. Those citizens would like to get permits to put healthy dunes back ocean side of their homes. My understanding is they have said at their expense, but I'm not the finance guy, we're not the permitting agency, and we're not the attorneys. How that gets worked out amongst the county, the individuals in this district, I hope it gets worked out well. Those are all on the table. I don't know that anything is fixed, to be quite honest, in terms of what exactly the final plan is. These are all plans to determine what's feasible to be done. And then, if I understand that the county and the permitting agencies, I would like to assume this district as well, would integrate whatever their thoughts are. And that's the direction we'll follow.
Kat?
Can you get me a copy of the county's permit that they're planning to do this under? I need that. And just,
There is no permit yet. We've barely gotten a contract in our hands to start the design work.
I'm sorry, Jim, it's just that people down there are telling me that they are interpreting this a very different way. And I don't know what we're going to do, get drones to stop them or what. But just one quick, this is for the commission's benefit. We do have a liaison with the Army Corps, whose name is Jason Harry. He's a really smart man. He's a project manager, extremely well-versed on Summer Haven. So I called him up again when I was reelected, and I said, people coming at me again from Summer Haven, it's more of a mess. And to tell you the truth, that river's building up sand like crazy. I mean, it is just adding sand like crazy. So I said, Jason, what's the general outlook there for engineering? Because you can get an engineer to say almost whatever you want. I'm sorry, those were his words too. So I said, let me just go straight to the man. He said, the first thing I do down there is just secure the inlet. Then you would harden Barataria. Then you deal with the beach on South Summer Haven. And if there was some kind of huge benefit to the taxpayers, maybe then you would look at the river. So you can see my confusion. You can see my confusion. Please do so. I want you guys to know Jason Harrod out of the Jacksonville section is smart, and he's always talked to me about it. And please feel free to get some advice from him as well.
We work with Jason on multiple projects.
He's smart, man. He's doing that back bay stuff, back bay for us too.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions for Taylor?
The question dealing with Channel Mark 9, where do we stand for the installation of that?
Channel Mark 9, the only thing I know is they had one question that they actually asked today about that. They weren't sure if the sign was still available or not.
I have an email from
It
Ken.
would be different, obviously, if they had to make a new sign. So
I sent it to you.
So you say Augustine is here, so maybe they can answer that question.
No, I have a email from Ken regarding number 9, and I sent it over, I think, to you. Let me see.
Could we get all the emails that come into the port, please?
Yeah, I send them, I just got the email.
Okay.
So when I get
Anything
them,
that Mr. Meek does that goes out or comes in, could we get all copies?
everything goes to the port emails.
As soon as I get an answer, that
Jesus.
does the sign still exist or does a new one have to be made, they'll give you a final price. They just need to know where the sign is or if they need the clear or not. That's the only difference right now for them. They'd be ready to go if they.
Channel marker number 9, he's asking, were the signs recovered when the marker was reported down last time? And Hayward's bid was based on the signs being available. If they were not recovered, they will have to order new ones, which will add a bit to the cost. I will check with them to see if they can give me a dollar amount.
So we need to ask Eric, I
I
think.
think Eric said they were
I
recovered.
believe he said they were recovered, but we should confirm with him. At least you want me to reach out?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the price without the sign?
Oh, Corey, are you working on that? Thank you.
The price without the sign?
I don't have a channel marker. What was the other one?
Thinking it was $6,100.
I believe it was somewhere in that range, yeah.
That's without, if they don't have to buy the sign.
Right.
Yes.
Good. Okay, well, that brings us to old business discussion regarding May Street boat ramp. Does anybody want to kick this off? What are we talking about?
Well, the county did come in and at first requested some repair to the boat ramp, and then that was taken off the agenda for some reason, and then Mr. Rivers said no, they wanted to name the boat ramp. I thought it'd be nice to repair and name it.
There's only one bump ramp on that street, which is called Milano Landing. Is that what you're talking about?
No, you know what we're talking about.
How much
With Mr. Rivers, it's the same thing you argued with us last time, right there at the May Street
Well, I go
Bridge.
back to my statement. There is only one boat ramp on Milano,
Okay. This is a
Milano
boat ramp.
Causeway, and it's called Milano Landing.
Right, this
There's
is
no
a ramp
other
that is
boat
being
ramp.
used by the public for many, many years now. It's all gutted out, you know where I'm talking about. It is being used, it is not a named boat ramp. Perhaps we should name it, like the county said, because it's used all the time as a relief.
Okay, it is used all the time, but at no cost to us.
Well, we filled in the holes
We
last
have
time.
to pave it, we have to provide parking. People do use it all the time. I pass by
It's
there
all
2
rutted out.
times a day. But I don't think there's any reason why the Port Waterway and Beach Commission should take any responsibility for it.
Well, we own a piece of the property there. When I went to the FDOT last time, they were happy for us to lease I guess that's the easement, state's easement. You know all of this. It is certainly in our charter to create and maintain boat ramps. Just what I would like to see it as a kayak, non-motorized. And I would think we need to talk to the county again, but at very minimum, we should at least, since it has been used for years as a kayak/slack boat, at least make it fix the potholes and things that makes it drivable.
I think during your last term, we did fix the
We
problem.
fixed the potholes, and they need to be fixed again. That's been several years, at least 4 years, if not
I
5.
think they put about $7,500 into it.
It was a good chunk of change, yeah, that's what it, and you know what, we should have done better. As long as we keep throwing things just to do that, everybody said it should have been, these filings, we should have done better and make that far more usable. And that's what I'd like to do, since people are once again complaining, and they do a lot on that Facebook page that says St. Johns County taxpayers pissed off about boat ramps or something. They actually have their own Facebook page. And every time I go on there, where they are ready to have that exact spot fixed again. So I assume that's what the county fellow, Officer Oak, was referring to when he said they were getting complaints about it needing repairs. So I'll just make a motion that we at least look at repairing it, maybe have our engineer take a look at it and see what we could do.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? No? Motion dies for what?
I'll second it.
Oh, okay, Commissioner Bender. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Nay. Commissioner Kirkland, was that a vote one way or the other?
I think nay, because I think we need to investigate what we're doing before we vote to do it.
That's all the motion is, not to do it. The motion was to have him look into designing something there.
right, well, I'll change mine to a yay.
All right.
I would be against that motion simply because it's going to incur more expense.
That's what
What
we're
I
supposed
would
to
like
be
to do would be to just approve already going ahead and repairing the potholes
I
now
don't know what you're supposed to be doing.
without any kind of study from Taylor or anybody else.
doing. We just passed the motion.
Well, I'm just telling you. what
I know you
think.
do not want any more public access to the river or the beach. You've always made it clear.
Okay, I'm just making sure you have.
All right.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but that's.
At this point, the motion has passed 3-2. The question presented to Taylor is, I guess, could you give us a cost estimate of what it would cost to resurface, dump more sand out in that parking lot on the May Street informal boat ramp that the Port District owns?
Yes,
You
gross,
know what we're
yes.
talking about?
Gross, yes, we've done this before, but it would be a very broad, because it's not an exact, you're not asking us to do something that has an exact final design standard. We're dumping sand.
Right.
I
Could you
mean,
make recommendations?
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Just the hardening of the
It
road?
would be a range, likely. I mean,
That
yes.
would be great.
That's fine. That's
And then you
that's
could decide
that's
what
what we
range,
asked for.
side of
so.
the range you want to go to. I don't,
That would be great.
we're talking
all
about
right.
dumping sand.
Well, that being done, I believe we can move to new business. Item A, approval of execution of interlocal salt run dredge. Again, this is one that has been agreed upon in our budget. This is going to be the same language, I believe, that has been in every other interlocal that we have executed of this nature between the Port District and the city for salt run dredging. So here again, yes, that's that one there. Everybody has seen it. So here again, a motion to approve execution of the interlocal agreement is all we need, unless there is any additional discussion about specific terms of the interlocal.
The interlocal agreement does not include us getting records back from the project without paying for them. Anytime we've given project money to the city, if I wanted those records, I had to pay for them. I did. I have twice paid out of my pocket to get court records from the city because our interlocal agreement did not include. Most of the times they do things like this. You get, for example, get the one from Fine. Pick up one of their interlocal agreements. It's way better than ours. It protects them. They will, before you get your last payment, they get their records back for the whole of the project. So I would really like to see that nobody that wants records from the city again ever has to pay, because that's the city's policy.
All right, so is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve, but I want to point out section 6 says the city shall undertake all responsibility to request and approve bids and contracts for the dredging work and will provide the district such documentation as requested by
Then why don't they give it to me when I ask? Any commissioner, that does not require a resolution. And my last term, you guys were telling me it required a resolution. It was Pigot's fault from this commission for me to call up and get those records. But it needs to be there that any
All right,
commissioner.
and it is there. So
It isn't. It says the
there is a
commission.
motion to approve.
You're a
Is there a
terrible,
second?
terrible chairman. Thank God this is over soon.
There we go. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
There we go. Next up is Leadership Award. Tom Rivers.
Yeah, I brought this up at the last meeting, but several people were absent. The Florida Association of Special Districts, which we belong to for a number of years now, is having what they call a annual leadership awards. And at their meeting, which is coming up, I believe it's in June, in Orlando. And one of the awards that can be given is the District of the Year. And I see no reason why we couldn't put our name in the pot for the District of the Year, considering all that we do for the county and for the cooperating with Fine. That I think we'd be a good organization to be in running for the District of the Year. There's a nomination form. The deadline is April the 10th. I'd be happy to take the responsibility of filling out the nomination. with the approval of the members of the board, which I would forward it to Elise, and would forward it to the rest of you. And if it's okay, then we would go ahead and put our name in the pot for the leadership award.
Because
specifically
this
for-
is an individual nomination, I don't think this is even something we need a motion and a vote
Well,
on,
it was
right?
brought up last night.
Okay.
That we shouldn't bring it up until we got the consensus. Let's say it's a
Okay.
consensus, it's not a motion. But is there a consensus of everybody that we can do this?
Sure. Any problem with that? Any opposition on the part of any commissioners? No?
Again, reading
Oh,
it-
I do.
Again, reading.
I do, we've done too many illegal things.
Commissioner Bender was speaking.
Excuse me, you asked.
Again, reading it, it's not to an individual, it's to the district.
The
itself.
district.
Right.
And
It's
that's
the-
why we had to come back here with this meeting,
Right.
because it affected the whole district.
I see. Great. So we have one commissioner opposed.
Yeah, and I'd like to say why,
Any
because
other-
I'm not finished. I do get to make a comment on this agenda item, and we've done too many illegal things. Let's start with the failed North Summerhaven dredge project, $2.9 million out the door. Out the door, and I've got proof of all that. We've raised taxes with only 2 commissioners voting for it 3 times, even after being told by the Department of Revenue it was illegal, and it is, yes, it's illegal because it's in our charter that requires a full majority. That's why it's illegal, just in case you don't know. And you want to give us an award? That I could go on and on and on. I'm sorry to say.
All right, no need to. So we have
No, we don't
we have
deserve it.
4 commissioners in favor, or with no opposition and 1 opposed. Tom, I will commit that to your discretion. I don't think there's any other action that needs to be taken on that. Any other discussion on your part, or shall we?
Yeah.
Great. So let's move on to update on ethics requirements. Mr. Mead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. At a prior meeting, it was requested that I review the current legislative session to make sure there were no changes to Commissioners' requirements regarding ethics and sunshine law. As of this weekend, there were 166 laws passed by the current legislature, which is currently out of session. They will be coming back for special session. And there were 24, I believe it was, laws that had actually been fully passed at this point, most of which were of a cursory nature, just St. Johns County's Appreciation Day, those types of things. In reviewing all of those different laws, I found none that would change the memo I previously did regarding ethical requirements and the 4 hours that commissioners needed to get for their annual reporting. I will recirculate that memo by email following today's meeting so that you all have that in front of you again, but I wanted to verbally say that still remains the same. I also went back and double checked, and the websites that are listed within that memo are all still good, current, and valid websites. Just as a slight update, again, it does not change the memo, but just for reference for the commission, the only law that is technically not on the books because the governor has not signed it that could potentially change some of the language and some of the presentation is, I know some commissioners are familiar with shade meetings. There is a law that was passed that would bring discussions regarding negotiations over Burt Harris issues under the shade umbrella. Again, it's nothing currently pending before this commission or district. It has not been signed into law. That is the only thing that could potentially be added into some of the presentations that are in the links and the websites that I provided within the memo. Other than that, if you follow the memo, you will be covered. Happy to address any questions.
The one you just mentioned that may change, what is the, whatever you mentioned?
Yeah, there's what's called the Burt Harris Act, which is if a governmental entity is alleged to have undertaken a taking of private property, either by taking the property or more appropriately by diminishing its value because of some action or inaction the governmental entity doesn't take, the private landowner can bring an action under what's called the Burt Harris Act to say, you diminished the value of my property by X dollars, therefore you need to pay me for that. That, according, let me find the actual, make sure I've got it here. It is pending House Bill 655 ended up being passed that claims under the Burt J. Harris Act would also potentially be subject to shade provisions where governing bodies could discuss how they want to address making offers, responding to offers in closed session. With the same shade requirements, you've got the court reporter, it's been noticed, once it's final, there's no more negotiations, that will become a public record. But Burt Harris is one of the things that we may pulled under that shade umbrella potentially. It is not something that has been, at least the time I've been here, ever been an issue before this commission. But given the nature of the assignment I was given to look at what could potentially affect ethics and what you might be updating yourselves on and reading, I thought it appropriate to mention that that may be something that comes up in one of the websites. I don't anticipate it being updated in any of the current presentations because, again, it hasn't even been passed into law yet, and it would have to be subject to, there's a lag in most of those things, Secretary of State of otherwise. But that is just something to put out on your radars that could be something that's updated within the future. Also, a small caveat, the regular legislature session is over. They will be called back into session for, I believe, at least 2 issues. There is the potential they're tasked with other things in the coming months. They could always dig into something else. But given the 2 things that I know they're being called back to address, I don't think they're going to add a whole lot else to their plate. I think they're just going to be focused on those. But technically, there will be more legislative action in the coming year. But as of the regular legislative session, there's nothing new that you all have to be concerned with.
And the two issues that are coming back, one is dealing with the homestead?
The property tax issue is one, and the one thing that the legislature must always do is the one thing they did not do this year, which is pass a budget yet. So they have to come back.
Which they didn't do till June of last year either.
Correct. They're on a streak, and I will refrain from giving an adjective to that streak.
Any other question? Hearing nothing. Right into the next thing, supervisor of election resolution. This is the resolution that we are required to pass every 2 years when election season comes back up, merely stating what seats we have, what seats will be up for election, what the terms are, et cetera, et cetera. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And a draft of that was sent by DCC to all commissioners to review to make sure there were no questions, concerns, or issues with any information listed within the resolution. For the commission's benefit, I will advise that I did not receive any comments, questions, or concerns from any commissioner as to what was in the draft resolution.
Right.
At least I did not get a copy of that letter from the supervisor of elections to the court. Would you please send me a copy of that letter?
Yeah.
As soon as possible. Thank you.
So the action required here then would be, again, a motion to approve the resolution, and then you would need to read the resolution into the minutes. Is that right?
Actually, I added a header here, and just for expedience's sake, the resolution for consideration is resolution 26-01, which is a resolution of the St. Augustine Port Waterway and Beach District setting forth information as to current commissioners, seats up for election in 2026, terms of office for commission seats, and date new commissioners will assume office in 2026. That having been read in, a motion to approve and adopt, a second, and a vote is all that's necessary.
Great. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
One question. When did the new commissioners take office?
It's in that.
It would be on...
It'll be November, right? It'll be at the November regular meeting, I believe.
No.
They technically assume office on November 13th, which is the 10th day following the general election.
And that's a Friday, and our normal meeting will be the following week. So
Right.
do we move the meeting to that Friday?
No.
No.
Next
They'll
Tuesday,
just
next
be
meeting.
sworn in that next meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's no technical action being taken by the commission in the intervening days. But a good question.
Good. Well, that resolves that. So next on the agenda is attorney search. As I'm sure everyone is well aware, Mr. Meek is moving on to greener pastures. In the past, Clay, correct me if I'm wrong, did we advertise on the state bar associations? How did we advertise for the attorney search last time?
Yes, sir. I don't have a specific recollection as to the state bar website. I believe it was posted to the Florida Bar. I know it came to my attention by being advertised in the Volusia County Bar Association Journal. My suggestion would be, it's commissioner's discretion as to how far a net they wish to cast. The Florida Bar's website, as far as positions, is less crowded than it was 5 to 10 years ago. So I think it will get more exposure just by being on there because it's not being compared to 100 other things. Typically, these days, it's more of the 40 to 50 type job opportunities throughout the state. I don't know the current rates for the Volusia County Bar Association, but I know they're advertising.
What's the website?
Yeah, the Volusia County Bar Association's rates, typically, I believe, don't hold me to it, but I believe it's something like $100 or so to run an ad in the Volusia County Journal.
That's Volusia County.
Yes, sir. It is. Yeah, for comparison's sake, the Volusia County Bar Association is of, between Volusia County, back up 1 second, 7th Circuit is comprised of 4 counties. You've got Volusia, Flagler, St. John's, and Putnam. Of those 4 counties, the Bar Association that is by far the largest is Volusia. Volusia will typically have 500 to 600 attorneys within the Bar Association, with at least double that in the general attorney population. Because of the number of attorneys that are members of the Volusia County Bar Association, in Volusia, we're able to do a little bit more as far as having a regular newsletter that goes out each month, having regular events of the bar where we get together or groups can get together and discuss things. Because of the size of Flagler and St. John's, they don't have a newsletter. So there's nothing you can say, I'd like to run an ad in the St. John's County Bar Association newsletter to see if there's any lawyers that might respond to that. They simply don't have that newsletter. I'm sure Duval County does, which would be another option to consider. I'm confident they are large enough that they would have that. But to my knowledge, neither St. John's, Flagler, nor Putnam has reached the size where they have a newsletter where you can be assured that if we run our ad now, it will be automatically distributed to this many attorneys. They will see it. They will put eyes on it. And just for a little bit more reference, the Volusia County Bar Association's newsletter, they will send it out at the beginning of each month. It is typically 4 to 5 pages long, and it's going to outline, here's what's going on in Volusia County legally. Here's people advertising to be a mediator. Here's people advertising to hire an attorney, those types of things. And the email that forwards that newsletter, it's all delivered electronically at this point. The email forwarding it will also have a separate breakout within the email itself that says, within this newsletter, you're going to see an advertisement for attorney positions, blah, blah, blah. So that's, going to your question of why not St. John's, that's...
Attorneys here get that newsletter?
I know some do. It is not, I wouldn't say it is a wide circulation.
But they'll likely be getting the Florida bars.
They would absolutely get the Florida bars.
So maybe the thing that would make the most sense, and I believe this is how we did it last time, but I could be wrong, would be to advertise on the Florida bar and then contact the Duval and Volusia County bars as well.
I think Jim set all that up. Jim did it
yeah.
when he was leaving.
Would be my recommendation.
At least we would go through the same process we did the last time.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we had a number of St. Augustine people who applied.
And they came to the meeting. You were here too.
We broke the secret vote. So this time, if we have a secret vote again, let's make sure we don't break the trust of that. You got to laugh.
I remember that. Yeah.
But I do. I remember it too, and that's how we got Mr. Meade. But anyway, yeah.
Just to be clear, since this is impugning me, there was absolutely no secret vote for me becoming the attorney of this district that I'm aware of in any way, shape, or form. It was all done publicly.
That's what we called it, and it was
You can
passed
call it-
down, it was not a verbal
Absolutely.
out
You can
loud vote.
call
Absolutely
a
not.
board
You remember
system.
going
That
through
doesn't make
the-
it
There
so.
was
It's
extensive
okay,
discussion.
There were
that's
some
But in any event, it sounds like we have, do we need a motion to ask Lise to proceed with this advertising scheme?
Well, there were a couple of issues that were discussed last time that could use a little bit more fleshing out. Is an ad was run. Obviously, that ad was, opinions may vary, but I think successful in finding an attorney that was acceptable to the Port District in the way it was written previously. There were a few things that I personally would strongly suggest adding to that ad as far as requirements for any requests for proposals to be submitted. There are some state legally required forms as far as disclosures that I think any applications you're considering should have those with them. Beyond that, the question was use the old language with me adding a few things to it, Elise taking the lead, me taking the lead, those sort of logistical questions. But again, I can get more detailed if there's any questions about them, but when I submitted my application back in 2020, I voluntarily added those forms even though they were not requested because I believe that's legally required. I did not look at any of the other applications. I don't know if other applications did or did not submit those things, but I would really, really want to make sure we're asking for those things when proposals are being submitted. Otherwise, it's the Commission's discretion as to who they wish takes the lead in doing that.
Yeah, I mean, my recommendation would be to allow Clay to do it because A, he understands what the role is, and B, he has specific knowledge of, the disclosures that would be most useful for us. He also, I believe, used to be the president of the Volusia County Bar Association, so understands obviously understands very well the way their newsletter works, and presumably would with the Florida Bar and Duval County Bar as well.
So we're doing both Florida Bar and Volusia?
I think Florida, Duval, and Volusia.
Yes.
Kind of
Okay,
cast a regional net there.
Okay.
I believe we will need a motion on that, yeah. So, get a motion to have Clay take the lead on drafting a new attorney search advertisement, which will then be advertised by Elise in the Florida Bar Association and the Duval and Volusia County Bar Association newsletters as well.
I would make that motion.
There's a motion.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
There we go.
No,
Good.
and the reason I post for the record is Elise did it all by herself last time, and every time he can make $500 doing secretary work, he does. So you did a fine job last time, Elise. I was fine with secretary work.
Okay, there we
Just
go.
one last question for guidance on this. As I put in the letter, I'm absolutely going to be flexible with the commission as far as the duration that I'm here to make sure you have adequate time to find someone. Deadlines, is this something the commission would like the solicitation to say, have these in time for the next meeting, or give it a little bit more time and say, have these in time for 2 meetings from now to come in front of the commission to consider it? The shorter time you give them, the fewer applications you're going to get. The more time you give them, the less time you have to think about them.
I'd say May.
Yeah, that would be my instinct as well. Is there any opposition to May as the
Having people come for the May meeting,
giving people until May, the May meeting, to get their application materials in?
so we would be meeting with the
reviewing with
applicants in
them
May.
in May. That's right.
No, let's understand. We're asking for the applications by May, so we would not be meeting with them.
No, sorry.
After that time.
Let me clarify. We would be asking for application materials to be to us in time to review them at the May and speak with candidates at the May meeting. So they would need to be a couple weeks before the May
And
meeting,
the review.
presumably.
And I think that's a workable time frame.
Yeah, so let's say if the May meeting is going to be the 19th, then they need to be in by May 5th or thereabouts, a couple weeks beforehand, so we have plenty of time to look everything over.
I appreciate that guidance. I can incorporate that into the solicitation. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Next up is litigation update.
Yes. 1 second. All right, so we did have a hearing before Judge Maltz. Judge Maltz fully agrees that we were the prevailing party on the litigation. However, because this litigation involved public records, Judge Maltz's consideration was that we have to show the extra element that the litigation was either initiated or maintained for an improper or frivolous purpose. I believe there are facts that we could point to that would indicate that it was frivolous or maintained for a frivolous purpose, given the readily availability of the records through simply being a commissioner. However, this is a second element. In my mind, it is less clear-cut and less easy to simply litigate. As opposed to the hearing that we already had before the judge, it's very easy to go in and say, here's the complaint, here's the dismissal we want. This is more of a factual finding. It would require a little bit more legwork, a little bit more factual development to submit that record to the judge and have a second hearing. And because of that, I wanted to come back in front of the commission and get more guidance on that. Obviously, it would require more time to be spent doing this. So there's a financial investment to be made by the commission in pursuing that. Also, because it is a more gray factual finding, as opposed to the binary choice, was it dismissed or not dismissed, this is something the judge has a lot more discretion over, assuming the facts are presented in the best possible way by us, the judge's opinion, does that constitute being frivolous or maintained for a frivolous purpose or not? So really it's just an update. That's where we've been so far. And that's the options are continue to go forward and attempt to prove up that it was maintained frivolously, or we can submit a notice to the judge that in light of that guidance, we're just not going to pursue it anymore, and that would be the end of it.
Any additional costs incurred by the district would potentially be recoverable as part of this recovery?
I would say potentially yes. However, reading body language and comments of the judge, having been at the hearing, I'm not optimistic that he's going to be overly favorable to that argument.
Okay.
To put it diplomatically, and certainly the judge did not make a specific ruling on it, but my impression was, given his past experiences, that might not be something he was inclined to do.
So what is your recommendation?
As I frequently advise clients, it's a question of principle. And it's which one do you want to go with? The one that ends PLE or the one that ends PAL?
What's that?
Well, there's the principle of the matter in that it's the philosophical thing of, we were wrongfully litigated against, it was wrongfully maintained, a point needs to be proven to prove the principle of it. On the flip side, there's the principle of how much money does the commission wish to spend to prove the point of the principle. And that's the battle of the two principles. I cannot certainly speak for the litigant involved, but my impression from the attorney involved was that they have little appetite to deal with this any further, whether the district goes forward with it or not. And I could be wrong, certainly, but I did not believe the attorney wished to do this anymore. Yes, sir.
I believe that you ought to choose the quickest path.
Well, quickest would obviously be submit a notice to the judge. We're happy we won. We're just going to let sleeping dogs lie at this point. You're not going to recover any money you've expended up to this point, but it will be closed. Okay. You lose the potential benefit. One of the, in my opinion, main reasons for pursuing the litigation and getting the costs is if the litigant is taxed costs and does not pay them, they are legally foreclosed from bringing further actions on it. Again, I can't speak for the litigant. I've certainly not spoken with or communicated with the litigant regarding this, but the attorney representing the litigant appeared to have little appetite to pursue these things further.
What way does that break, though, strategically? I don't understand if the attorney is ready to wash their hands of it. What does that mean for the district and for our position?
Well, for us it would mean, again with the caveat, it assumes that my interpretation of the attorney's comments and demeanor is accurate. Assuming that to be the case and that attorney doesn't touch it anymore, The Florida bar still has over 100,000 other attorneys, and the litigant is not precluded from going out and getting one of them to, pick the rock up and take it the next distance. It just means that particular attorney, if I'm interpreting their comments and actions correctly, would not be the one to carry the litigation forward. In my opinion, this type of litigation is one that I would expect a person to have a difficult time finding an attorney to bring in the first place, because I believe it is misplaced, I believe it is frivolous, and it doesn't serve a real purpose. So that limits your attorney pool significantly from the front end. But again, there's over 100,000 attorneys in the state of Florida. You turn over enough rocks, eventually you'll find somebody that's potentially willing to take a shot on it. So it diminishes the likelihood of the litigant finding a new attorney to assist them, but it does not eliminate that possibility.
Would you clarify for this commission whether or not the judge gave you recovery fees from the plaintiff, myself, or whether or not you did not get those? Did you get fees or not, sir?
As I indicated several minutes ago now, the judge indicated he agreed that the district was the prevailing party. It is the district's option to proceed further with a second
So you did not get.
If I could finish, Commissioner Flowers, I will not interrupt you. You will not interrupt me. Commissioner Flowers,
Say what you got.
You are not
nothing.
going to interrupt me,
You got
Commissioner Flowers.
nothing.
No, you are not. You will never do that.
You got your
Commissioner Flowers, you do not have the floor.
Mr. Man, I'm
You do not have the
Don't you tell me
floor.
what to do.
Commissioner Flowers, this
Don't
is
you
not
tell
your
me-
time to speak.
You are the hush when you're
No,
hush.
Commissioner Flowers,
He doesn't know.
you will not be speaking
You can
right
talk
now.
to boy.
You will have
You
the
need to be honest
opportunity
and
when
stop
I am
telling
done. You are not going to speak over me.
You are a liar.
No, ma'am, I am not.
You are lying right now. Did
Commissioner
you
Flowers.
get fees awarded
Commissioner
or not?
Flowers, this is not your time to
You
speak.
didn't get fees, did you?
Commissioner
You
Flowers,
need to be honest.
stop interrupting, ma'am.
And there's a reason. you didn't
Commissioner
get your
Flowers, you will cease interrupting if you want to
You're
hear
not
an
running
answer.
this commission. Would you please
Commissioner
take over
Flowers.
now?
Under Robert's Rules of Order, we do have the opportunity to vote to censor and remove
Please
speaking
do.
opportunities from a commissioner. That's a motion on the
Second.
floor, and there's a second. All in favor? Aye. Commissioner Flowers, you are done speaking.
I am
Please.
happy to. You will hear from my lawyer. And you, sir, are a liar.
Okay. Goodbye. So back to it.
If I
Mr. Meek.
could, just clearly for the record, that was to limit debate on that particular
Please.
issue,
I want
not
those records
eliminating
of Axel,
Commissioner
okay?
Flowers'
Of what?
Give me those
ability
records.
to discuss
What
further
records?
issues.
That's
I've asked
exactly
for
right.
today.
There is also
Oh, yeah, I'll send you over the letter.
And anything else I've asked for, you haven't
to
sent me
leave
the
after they
Oh, by the way.
have been silenced appropriately under
The
Robert's
computer,
rules.
you said was fraud.
Commissioner Flowers is hereby notified of leaving the commission meeting in the
You
middle
said it was
of it.
fraud.
would
How much did that cost us?
Almost per se.
It was
non-feasible,
$1,000. I
which is
replaced
one of the
it.
grounds for
Okay,
removal
I
from
want
the
the
government.
receipt for that, please. And where's
She
the old
is
one?
absolutely
Huh? Where's the old one?
entitled
It's going to the
remain
office.
and
It needs to be
participate
there
in
now.
votes on
Well, it's not going to be there
Get there
now.
now. It's
Uh,
illegal to
that
keep
means
stuff
that
at your
just
house for
address
so
the-
long.
to finish
You
addressing
can't
the
do that.
question, again, the judge did indicate that
I
the
just
district
changed
was
it
the
over
prevailing
yesterday,
party.
so yet
Did
it's
indicate
fucking...
that the commission does have the right to continue to pursue the litigation for the fees, but required an extra showing, which would be by a second evidentiary hearing.
I think everybody here understood that, besides Commissioner Flowers, who may or may not have been paying attention when you were speaking initially. So the question before the board currently is whether we pursue this and in so doing potentially recover costs and also prevent her from launching any other frivolous lawsuits, or whether we just wash our hands of it entirely. Commissioner Rivers has indicated that he is mostly interested in a speedy resolution here. I personally am in favor of pushing this to the end for reasons that I believe were probably made clear over the course of the last 3 minutes. But we'll need a motion one way or the other, so I'd love to hear one.
Okay, well, first of all, let me say that my comments were not meant to be emotional. I just wanted to know his opinion,
Okay.
which would be the quickest, and he gave me the opinion. But I agree with you this time.
Okay. Well, in that case, is that a motion to then have Mr. Meek
It is.
continue?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. So you will continue to push that as hard as you can, Mr. Meek, and we appreciate your efforts on our behalf.
Yes, sir. And just for the audio record, I did want to note, and for my own record keeping on the minutes, That will be recorded as a 4-0 vote, as Commissioner Flowers has left the premises without giving any indication, to my knowledge, as to why she left. But
Right.
she is not present for that vote.
She would have been
By
barred. She would
election.
have been barred from voting on that anyway, I believe. So it
True,
It would have been a 4-member vote no matter what. But yes, you are right. She is gone and does not appear to be on her way back. So the final agenda item under new business today is contracts review. All commissioners. I was not present at the last meeting, so I do not.
No, I have to gather the contracts up and I'll forward them to everybody.
Okay, so this is just an opportunity for all of us to see all of our current
Well,
active contracts we have. Go ahead.
I
Taylor,
brought it up last
do
meeting.
I need
because
an updated
around this time
contract?
of the year, we find out which contracts
think it was
are coming
over.
due and which ones aren't. There was some discussion whether the people had a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract. And I thought the summary would be
I
necessary.
know
So that
that,
we know where we stand and not be fair told at the last minute. Approve it or
Thank
not approve it.
Makes
If
sense.
we decide to move ahead and advertise for additional professional services, this is the appropriate time to have a discussion so that we would have ample time to get somebody possibly by October 1.
Okay, makes sense. So do we know all the extant contracts we have? Obviously, Mr. Meek, but that one's going to be up for, it's going to be changed no matter what. We have Taylor. We have.
Ken's going to get me one, right?
Yes, we have you.
I don't have a contract. I have an engagement letter.
Engagement letter.
It's
right.
just an
Sure,
engagement
but
letter.
it operates as a contract.
Okay, whatever, but I have that.
You don't need to be overly technical about it. It serves the same function and creates.
Well,
similar rights
it won't
and
serve it
responsibilities.
for somebody, but yeah.
Well, yes, but there are people on this board who understand the law, and then there are people on this board who think they understand the law.
Okay.
We're not worried about the ones who think they understand the law. But beyond that, who else do we have? We have our web services, right? Do we have a contract with Avid?
Yeah, I think
We have an
so.
ongoing contract with Avid.
Yes, I'm going.
Well, that's what we're saying. Right, and then we have right. I thought you were talking about Elise, but you're talking about the auditors. Yes, and then we have.
We have a contract. It's every 2 years, and actually they're starting because they got to do it now because it's due in June.
Right, but that one won't be up again. So that's the universe. Did I just count 6 contracts total? Or will you be able to gather all those before our next meeting so that we can all actually have time to look at them a week or 2 before the next meeting? I guess is the
Okay,
question.
so I have engineering, mine.
Yes.
I won't get a contract for updated for the auditors yet until after they finish this year.
Sure, but if you have one historically that you can show us, just to show us the nature
Okay.
of the agreement, yeah, I think it would be
Auditor.
fine.
Who else? We said engineering, me.
Clay,
Clay.
just so we can take a look at the attorney contract. That, I believe, was also an engagement letter.
It was,
Yeah, it was.
yeah, I can update that one now for the commission. That one was formalized with a contract. I recall the contract being executed. I do not have a copy of the signed
no, you're
contract
right.
with me, but I saw it be
It was a
executed.
contract, yes.
The general terms of the contract reflected my overall outlook on providing legal services, were that the contract was for a 1-year recurring contract. But it also built into it that either side could get out of it at any time with 30 days notice. Because my outlook as an attorney has always been, I don't want you to have me as your attorney because you want to get through the rest of the contract. I want you to have me as your attorney because you want me as your attorney. So in rough time frames, it was 1 year and would continue until either side said we want out. And although it was phrased as a 1-year to 1-year contract, either side could get out with 30 days notice at any time they wished. That was the nature of my contract. And certainly, as has been discussed, when you're interviewing new attorneys, that's the commission's discretion as to what terms they want to make a part of the new contract or not. But that's what I've been operating under.
Mine is you could fire me at any time and go right ahead. You could start now.
Yeah, today's meeting didn't have anything to do with that, did it, at least. Okay, so will you be able to gather those before the next meeting? It sounds like we have 5 or 6 in total.
I have Avid, I have Taylor,
Avid,
mine,
Taylor,
Auditor,
Woods,
and Clay.
Auditor and Clay, so that's 5. Yeah, that would be great. Yes.
So we were just going to change the date, as we've done for 32 years.
Yeah.
Do you want us to do anything different on it? Do you want it to be 3 years?
No, I think the
Just
thing
leave it
that we
alone?
want to do is just, I think everybody wants to have an opportunity to review, just read the contracts and review them, right? So there's no action you need to do except give us a copy of the old, except I believe we should already have a copy of it, so I'm not sure you actually need to do anything at all. I think Elise will have access to that. Is that right? We just want to be able to read.
I saw one a couple of years ago from Taylor, but I haven't seen anything recently.
Yeah.
So
So we'll
I'm
get,
trying to catch up on.
right.
Well, they're
everything that's out there.
continuing.
Yeah.
If there's voids in all of the information.
Sure, so,
The auditors, I think, are pretty good. I think that was only a 2-year, but we saw that, and some of the other ones, it's, in my mind, unclear.
okay, well, yeah, so whatever the most recent contract we have with Taylor, I think will help elucidate that. So it sounds like that's good, and maybe we can put that on the agenda under old business for next month, contract review. And we'll have had the time to actually look through them all for anybody who wants to. Yes, Jeff.
If it's okay, so you'll have our current contract. Do you want us to send you the proposal for the next?
No, I don't think so. I think we'll just,
I
what we
think
need
so.
for now is just to
Okay.
see what we have
Just wanna
so
know.
that we can understand
Oh.
what we might want going forward.
So I don't need to change mine. I
No,
mean,
nothing needs to change. What we want to see is what's in place right now.
okay.
Yeah, that's it.
One of the informed commission.
Yeah, exactly. So that if there are deficiencies or things that we'd like to change, we'll have the opportunity to internalize what we have, and then as the year or the next 2 years progress and these contracts come due, we can then negotiate for something different if the commission so desires. Any other discussion on that, or does that sound like an actionable work plan? We're good? Okay, great. Well, that brings us to public comment. Nothing? Got nothing to say about what you see in here today?
Now's the time to do it.
All right, next up will be comments by commissioners. Commissioner
I
Bender?
have a couple. One is the update, when we're talking about the Genevieve, so that San Sebastian is now called the Walden Family Park, and the commissioners did name that at their last meeting. They also, by a 3-2 vote, ended the discussion on the Shore Trail project, which frees up a little over $1 million that I believe they're planning to move on to the Walden Family Park. And as was indicated before, there is construction work going on there for the streets, the storm drainage work. My own editing on the coming into the park and out of the park, I think they need to do better, but I'm not their consultant on it. Just because I'm a civil engineer and I look at it, I think they can do better. But again, we would not be funding all that aspect, as Mr. Fuller mentioned. We would be doing more of the marina aspect. And all I would say is when we do get to that area, we make it clear in any contract or grant agreement that's very similar to what the Florida Community Trust does in their grant agreement. And I did discuss this with the county park people, that if for some reason the park doesn't move ahead and they end up selling the property, we get the money back. And I would say get the money back for any new grant and the old grant of $1.5 million. Include those aspects. Whether Mr. Blow has that same information in his grant agreement or not, I'm not aware of it. But I know they're going to be looking for some money. And the reason I was trying to press when they're doing it is to know what's happening this budget season. And we do not have a lot of applications right now.
Right.
And I heard in one case, the city of St. Augustine Beach may have an application, but it's not the size of what the city of St. Augustine is looking for the dredging. It's less than that.
Okay. I can, just in terms of on the Waldron family plot, I spoke with Nathan Otter, at this point it's been a few weeks ago, but he was very adamant that no, they will not be asking for anything from us in 2026, and it's actually fairly unlikely that even in 2027, because there is just so much engineering and design work to do. But probably in 2028 is when we should expect them to come looking for a check from us for some of the initial construction work. That's the initial, boat ramp and lagoon construction work that's going to be going on back there, not just the roads that are going in. Good, thank you.
And my other aspect is that at last meeting after General Counsel Meek asked for some guidance whether he should move ahead in terms of advertising the position. Both Commissioner Rivers and I said, go ahead, get the information together. That's necessary. Commissioner Flowers loudly objected to that. In
yeah.
fashion.
Sure. Yeah.
And following that meeting, the Commissioner Flowers said that both Mr. Rivers and I violated the Sunshine Act by having discussions after the meeting. We both indicated that we did not discuss anything except our mutual hearing problems in writing, and I asked for her to provide a retraction in writing dealing with that situation, and which I have not received as of this time, anything in writing retracting that situation, and I consider her actions by causing this strain, a hostile workplace environment in terms of her actions saying we violated the Sunshine Law. So whether the board wants to sanction her on that or just build it into the overall record, I am formally asking the board to consider her actions causing us undue stress in terms of violating the Sunshine Law to be creating hostile work action.
Well, I mean, that brings us back to a discussion we had a long time ago with a largely different board, except Tom and Sandy and I were still on it, in which we discussed moving to have Commissioner Flowers removed from the board due to her completely unacceptable behavior during her tenure here. We ultimately, as a board, I think, decided not to pursue it. I believe Tom and I were the lone yes votes, and I believe everybody else voted against it. But I would argue that the problem has only gotten worse. The recriminations, the inability to control herself, the incoherence, it's all getting worse all the time. I remember when I first got on this board 8 years ago, there used to be a lot of people in the audience. People would come to these meetings because they were wanting to participate and interact with the Port District, and now no one comes except Corey, who has to, and Carl, who he's a glutton for punishment, I guess. I'm not really sure why he's here. But it has caused so much of a loss of status of the Port District over the years. Her inability to maintain even a modicum of decorum that it would. And also, she accused me of criminality continually. Said I'll be hearing from her lawyers as she was storming out today. She's called me a criminal and told me I was going to jail a number of times.
Well, she just told me today it's illegal because I still had the old computer. I just, got this one and I had it. You need to go to the port office and put it there right now. Right now.
Say something.
She's...
I was speaking to a constitutional officer, duly elected St. Johns County constitutional officer yesterday for about an hour. The first question they asked me is, how are you dealing with Sandy Flowers?
I've gotten that one a number of times over the years as well.
First question, a lot of good things on the table that we needed to talk about, but that was their first question.
Yeah, we've become a bit of a laughingstock because of her over the years. So it's, to your question, or rather to your comment, Commissioner Bender, about what the Port District wants to do about this, I don't know that censure goes even remotely far enough, and in my opinion, I think it would be worth us once again pursuing her removal from this board. Anybody who's thinking about running in this coming election has got to be thinking, why in God's name would I spend any time, pursuing public service in this venue if I'm going to have to spend at least 2 more years hearing this person scream, every month about God only knows what. So my personal feeling is that we should pick that ball back up. That could be your a perfect swan song for you here in your service of the Port District, Clay. But I'll defer to other commissioners as to whether or not that's something that we would like to pursue.
I would like to pursue.
If I could offer 3 points for consideration among the commission. First and foremost, because I know there was an issue with recording at the last meeting, I do think it is appropriate to note for the audio record that at the last meeting, I was present at the exact spot I am now during the discussion that Commissioner Flowers alleges there was improper communication. As I am now, I'm clearly observing all of the commissioners.
I can note for the record that there was absolutely not any inappropriate communication between Commissioners Bender and Vice Chairman Rivers, and had there been any, I would have promptly interrupted it, as I have done with potential sunshine issues throughout these meetings. I wanted to be abundantly clear, I am no more than 10 feet away from every commissioner. That did not occur. Second point is, to the extent the commission as a whole wishes to take any action as, Commissioner Flowers, I think you would want to make an agenda item for the next meeting to the effect of addressing improper conduct by Commissioner Flowers, and options could be outlined. Given who is present now and who may or may not listen to audio recordings, this is a good time to let the commission know that I've not billed the commission for any of this, just for everyone to be clear, but I do keep track of what's going on with governmental entities throughout the state. There is an individual who is regarded as being extremely disruptive to meetings within another public entity in Brevard County, whose governing body has requested that the governor take action to get that person off of the commission based upon their perceptions as to that person's behavior. To my knowledge, that has been pending for a long time in front of the governor with no whiff of the governor actually doing anything. Doesn't mean it's not appropriate to say call it out, send it up to the governor, but I do not have firsthand knowledge on it, but my understanding of what that other person is accused of as far as behavior goes would be very similar to what this commission is encountering. And to an extent, you have to assume similar facts, similar response by the governor. But I know the governor certainly has many other things going on. I think it's appropriate to let everybody know that, especially given who's here right now to hear it and not hear it right now. So that's something to file away for each commissioner as to what has happened with Brevard County. And again, to be clear, I'm not saying it was an individual within Brevard County itself as far as the political entity, rather a governmental entity that is located within Brevard County. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, I'm just relaying my understanding of things.
I would still be in favor of adding an agenda item for next month discussing options for censure or removal. Yeah, I mean, fine. She was here the last time we had to discuss this. What was it? 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah, you can't. You have
very
to.
close to that. And also, just for the record, my recollection is exactly as the chairman has outlined as far as the voting and the discussion.
Yeah.
And my belief is one or two of those commissioners, had they do it over again, might have changed their votes to side with Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Rivers.
I think that's exactly right. I think the idea at the time among those commissioners was they just wanted peace and to get past it, but I think they had some hope that things might get better, and things have only continued to get worse.
Chairman,
I'm sorry.
I just believe that something should be done before the next meeting. As far as the governor, I mean,
Oh, she wouldn't be
I know
really
him, I don't know
fast.
if he'd listen to me anymore, but I would certainly, put my 2 cents worth into his office. I just think that doing it with Sandy here is going to be totally disruptive.
Well, I will say this. Each of you wears at least 2 hats, in that you are all commissioners, but you don't lose your rights as individual people. So anyone as an individual is free to take any action, communicate with any governmental entity or individual that they wish to relay, hey, this is what's going on, it'd be great if it would be addressed. I would just encourage anyone that, to the extent you do that without having a consensus of the majority of the commission, make sure you're expressing yourself as an individual, not as a representative of the district, but you are 100% free to make those communications
Okay, but
as an
wouldn't our
individual.
minutes reflect the fact that what happened here a while ago?
Obviously, I haven't drafted them yet, but I will be certain that the minutes, in my opinion, will accurately
So
reflect
anything
what
I
has
would be
occurred.
sending to the governor's office, I could send a copy of our minutes.
Minutes are public record. They're free to be submitted anywhere you wish.
Yeah, I think the problem with us doing anything more than that today, Tom, unfortunately, is that it would impact the legitimacy of our action by not having it be noticed and commented action that would, for potential, exactly, for public, members of the public could potentially, it would make it a less democratically legitimate action,
Which
unfortunately.
I agree on that, but that does not stop me from wanting to write.
Not at all. And you are, as Clay
But as a
said,
person,
absolutely
not as a member.
free, and I would say encouraged to do so in the meantime.
And while they have less power than the governor does, the Florida Commission on Ethics also does have some powers, and that is also a governmental entity that anyone as an individual is free to contact with any complaints.
Well, actually, I wrote a note about that. The nature of the outburst involved Commissioner Flowers screaming about litigation that she's involved with against this district. She should not be commenting on that at all. And was that not a significant ethical breach on her part to put on that little show for us, when in fact she needed to be silent during that entire time?
And I felt like Clay was going out of his way to keep this on the down low.
That's right.
Keep it very.
Clay did a very good job, as he always does. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I thank you for those comments, and I was tempted to respect the fact that,
You didn't want to embarrass her.
well, and Ms. Flowers is represented.
Yeah,
and
but
I can't
that
have
won't
any
open if we go out there, even though it's
communication
locked.
directly, other than I'm obviously required to have in a public hearing.
Well, once you're out, yeah,
And
that's, but they
as
can go
far
out
as
that door.
her outburst,
Okay.
my opinion, I'm not stating it as fact without having everything in front of me, but my opinion is they were inappropriate on a couple of levels. However, from a strict voting standpoint, she is not allowed to vote on actions that would inure to her benefit or detriment. With professionalism, decorum, and following rules, she is allowed to discuss issues. I think the decorum, professionalism, and staying within rules was something that was not followed by her, in my opinion. But she is allowed to participate in discussions, even if she would have to recuse herself from voting on the actual item. She's allowed to appropriately engage in discussion. The thing is, you're not allowed to inappropriately engage in discussion, which I think has sometimes been the issue that's encountered.
But I mean, she made threats of legal reprisal to multiple members, multiple people in this room as part of that discussion. Does that not go beyond what she's allowed to do in that situation? She's really putting her thumb on the scale and trying to sway this board's mind in terms of how it should vote on this issue.
I obviously don't have the authorities in front of me, but I can recall from years ago that threatening legal action to attempt to influence another person can itself be, if not simply inappropriate, can reach a level of being illegal on a certain level. It is one thing to say, I intend to enforce my legal rights to the extent they exist. It is another to say, if you don't do this, I'm going to sue you. Again, I don't have legal authorities in front of me. It's fortunately not an issue that comes up very often, because few people behave in that way in a civilized society. But my general recollection is, yes, once it reaches the level of a threat or an intimidation, it can go past that boundary.
What I found a bit humorous was when she was standing over there, she says, "You'll hear from my lawyer."
Yeah.
And from what you told us earlier, it doesn't seem like her lawyer is very anxious to go on with any litigation.
And being respectful to the other attorney as well, it is my impression, based on the body language and some of the comments that were made at and around the hearing, that I formed the impression that that attorney did not want to be involved in this anymore. It was my impression that perhaps that attorney did not fully appreciate what the undertaking was going to end up being. But I'm certainly not quoting that attorney. I'm not, for the record, saying that attorney said any of those things. I'm just saying my impression from that attorney is that they would prefer
That's
to
the
not.
impression you gave us when you were talking. So, again, I found it humorous when she said, "You'll hear from my attorney." So,
And just while we're on this topic, or general topic as well, I think it's also appropriate to note for the audio, circling back to the false allegations made against Vice Chairman Rivers and Commissioner Bender, that Ms. Flowers said nothing within that meeting as to those allegations, and she has certainly never shied away from being very outspoken within a meeting when she wishes to say something.
Right.
So if it had happened, she had ample opportunity to bring it up right then and there, and certainly did not. Nothing was said at the time.
Right.
Just on that point, I think she may have been indicating that after the meeting, Commissioner Rivers and I continued our discussion on hearing issues, and she was still here observing us having that discussion.
The wording of her email was very vague, so perhaps that's an expansive reading that she intended to be by it. And certainly I would again reiterate, and I don't believe any commissioner here has ever violated this, but yes, you cannot discuss port business outside of a port meeting. I was interpreting the email as to say she was accusing the two of you of talking up there to each other on that issue while the other discussion was going on.
What's funny about that is both are hard of hearing, so we have to shout to each other anyways.
Shouting or not, I would have heard it if it was even normal talking voice. And I can state for the record, it did not occur at that meeting. I absolutely did not hear it, and I absolutely would have heard it had it did occur.
Well, so we are left with the question then, do we want to add an agenda item for next month's meeting, a discussion of potential... How would you word it, Clay?
Just addressing inappropriate behavior by Commissioner Flowers.
Okay.
And I can, again, outline the Commission's options for anything from reprimand up to referral. And I would expect a lot of fireworks. I don't expect it will be a smooth meeting by any means.
Yeah,
but
I don't think we're having any more smooth meetings from here on out. So my instinct would be to go ahead and add that to the agenda. Is anybody opposed to that?
I agree.
Okay.
My only question is...
Oh, sorry, Jim is raising his hand. He's opposed.
No, Mr. Chairman, I just want to know that, so if you go forward with your vote, could I be way up early on the agenda and then be excused?
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, in all fairness, I think there would be a lot to be said to put that towards the end of the meeting.
Yeah, you're on there.
At least, just so we are clear, that will be the last agenda item under new business for that meeting. So everybody who wants to clear the room can have cleared the room by the time it comes up. That's a great point, Jim. Thank you.
Well, he's up there in the beginning anyway.
Does it fall under the shade where it's private or is it public discussion?
We're going to adjourn.
It would have to be public. Again, this is a really unique situation, and you've raised the shade question before, and it's a great question to have. If this involved Port District and independent third-party person who isn't a commissioner, much of what's been discussed would be appropriately addressed in a shade meeting. However, because this particular litigant wears a commissioner hat, there's no way to exclude them from the shade meeting. Therefore, there's really no point in having a shade meeting because it's all got to be done out in the public anyway.
Right.
Excellent question. And yes, if this was Citizen Flowers initiating all of this and not Commissioner Flowers, then much of these discussions would be shade. But even when you're talking about how to address commissioner behavior, all of that can't be done in shade. It's got to be put the dirty laundry out there in front of the public.
Right.
And just not to belabor it, but just to echo a couple of points that were made and maybe give guidance to some of the commissioners. I can tell you personally, when I applied for this position previously, the single biggest thing that made me pause and really think long and hard about doing it is that I did my homework and I listened to prior commission meetings. And that one issue was the one that I thought, I'm not sure I want to do this or not. Unfortunately for me, I love St. Augustine, so it overrode that. I say that just because I think it will limit your applicant pool. I don't think it will eliminate it, but that behavior, I have the similar perception that it limits attorneys that wish to be involved, and it's going to limit public members and representatives of governmental entities from wishing to be here, and you never know what you're going to get.
Is that why you're leaving us now?
It is not. There are a handful of reasons. There are.
You don't have to tell us, but
No,
just that it's not.
No, I think it's very fair. It's a very fair question. As I kind of alluded to earlier, I try to be what I think of as an old school attorney. I believe attorney-client, it's a relationship. So I think it's very fair to say, why are we breaking up? I get that. There are a handful of reasons. There are two that are bigger than all of the others. Either of those two alone, I'm not 100% certain would be enough for me to make this decision. One of those two bigger reasons is, yes, I have concerns about Commissioner Flowers' behavior. I don't have an issue having a back and forth in a setting like this. That's not unique to me. I do litigation as the bulk of my practice. That part is not a problem. In all candor, I have concerns over Commissioner Flowers' ability to follow the law. And frankly, I don't want to be the attorney here if something gets violated and people are asking, why did this happen? And I have to start digging through my records and saying, I said it then, and I said it then, and I said it then. I don't have the ability to force somebody to follow what I said. There is a second very big reason that is personal, that I won't share. And that other reason would probably be enough on its own as well. That's as candid as I can be.
So it certainly played into your decision.
It's a factor, absolutely, yes. It absolutely factors into it. Present and past commissioners, I've had nothing but great experiences and great respect for anyone that's willing to put themselves into this environment, with one exception. There's only been one commissioner that I've encountered here and that's, again, present and past for the entire time I've been here. There's been no other commissioners. In all candor, I am human. I don't get a vote. There are sometimes commissioners vote a certain way. If I was a commissioner, I might vote a different way, but you can have good faith disagreements over seeing things that would never affect me at all. But yes, that behavior is a factor. But again, in all candor, there's a personal factor that probably would have tipped me over the edge anyway.
Well, we certainly appreciate your service to this district over the years, Clay. You've been nothing but steadfast and reliable. I believe we're still in commissioner comments, right? So
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's my turn.
I only have one. That's just to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
You're a little
St.
over
Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. There we go. Go ahead, Mary.
I went to the Board of County Commissioners meeting to hear the Summer Haven presentation. Had to leave early, so I missed it, but I watched it online. And I have been invited by one of the representatives of which one of the committees to go down there. And I'm going down there Thursday. Wanted you to know that just because I think at some point they will be back here.
Yeah, they're coming back at the next meeting.
And I'm trying to better educate myself.
I think that's smart, yeah.
And are we putting the Summer Haven, they're coming back here, the Friends of Summer Haven are coming back in April, right?
Yeah, unfortunately for them, they're also going to be on next month's agenda.
So are they going under old business or new?
That'll be new business. They'll be giving us a presentation on what they want the county to do, what they're trying to get permitted through Taylor.
Okay.
And et cetera, et cetera. And then you have the fireboat on there as well?
No.
Okay, can you also add under new business, City of St. Augustine fireboat? I believe they are going to come talk to us. Yes, Jim?
Have you all had a chance to see the one-pager that the Summer Haven community put together?
I have seen it. Has anybody else here seen the one-pager that the Summer Haven folks have put together?
I watched it on TV. I watched the meeting on TV,
Okay.
all the presentations.
Yeah, there you go. So
Okay, because it is public record, and I know we can release that.
they'll certainly.
I just wanted to make sure you had
a copy of it when you go down there.
Okay.
Well,
I just have one question.
Oh, go ahead.
Did the city determine whether you have the sign or not have the sign?
Thanks, Commissioner Bender. Eric and the marina was not able to recover marker number 9.
Okay. Hopefully it'll get resolved, so we're not sitting here next month waiting to do the work.
So
The
well,
temporary.
I think our engineer could,
I need your permission to add that to the proposal for them to procure the sign as well as the installation. Right now, the proposal was to rebuild the pile with the
With the
assumption
old
that the
sign.
sign was recoverable.
so then we need a motion to approve additional expenses for new signage for channel marker number 9.
Right.
I hate to say this, but if it's a new expenditure,
It needs to go on
unless it's
the-
critical, it would be on the next agenda.
Okay.
If it's imminent health, safety, welfare to the public,
It's not. Number 9 is not one of the more important ones, and I believe the temporary buoy is probably still out there, right? So we'll put that on the next month's agenda as well. That'll be under old business. Channel marker number 9, repair, parentheses, sign expense.
So we'll have the cost estimate from the contractor for you if you
Okay.
choose to approve, and then we can,
That'd be perfect. 'Cause then we
Execute
won't be
as soon as-
speculating how much it'll cost. We'll know exactly how much. Good.
But on that issue, if they do have the sign, and we approved it based upon the fact that they don't need a new sign, then they can move ahead.
Yes, if it turns out we do have the sign, but it sounds like we absolutely don't have the sign. We have confirmed that it's gone. So,
And if
hanging
that-
up in somebody's garage somewhere. So.
yeah, and if that information changes or is somehow up in the air next time, the motion can be phrased appropriately to address an
Right.
either or.
If available.
If available, that's right. Good. Well, there being no other business, let us just confirm our next meeting will be, it looks like Tuesday, April 21st. This meeting is adjourned, 5 o'clock on the nose.